recent years, most people have felt like Mazda has really been falling behind. As the rest of the car market continues to innovate and electrify everything around us, that Mazda hasn't been. But all that is starting to change. Mazda has been releasing several new vehicles this year, starting with the CX-50, but now we have something even newer and better. We've got the CX-50 Hybrid, one of the first hybrid options available from Mazda. And this one is actually a little bit unique because it's actually got the RAV4 hybrid powertrain dropped right into it. Now, should you be getting the Toyota RAV4 or this Mazda CX-50? Let's find out. Starting off in the front of the Mazda CX-50 Hybrid, you know, it does retain a lot of the looks and similarities to the typical CX-50 lineup. It's got that sporty crossover SUV feel to it, and it looks pretty good. In the front here, we do have a fully functional front grille in between our LED headlights, and overall, I like the headlights a lot. They're stylized pretty well, and then you've also got a little daytime running light down here at the bottom, unfunctional vents on the sides, as well as a massive Mazda logo in the center there. Overall though, I would say the front end looks pretty good, but you do have a plastic lip down here at the bottom with some more functional venting in there as well. Wrapping around to the side of it though, we do have 19-inch wheels. They don't look too bad, but they are wrapped around with this plastic fender flare. Not bad. And as you can tell though, both the front and rear just stick out quite a bit. Nothing too different there that we're used to seeing from Mazda, but man, this girl got some hips. Coming along the bottom on the side skirt, again, we've got that plastic running through, matching up with the fender rail. Now, the side view mirrors themselves are black from factory. They don't have a camera on them because there is no 360 package on this specific vehicle, but it is available. You do have lane departure warning and blind spot monitoring on the side view mirrors though, however. Coming back further, we do have painted to match door handles, look pretty good. Some silver roof rails on the top here, which is nice, especially on a crossover SUV. It's real nice and easy to reach up here, especially if you're storing things, not too difficult. That's one of the benefits of these crossover SUVs. As we move back further, again, there's those wide hips that start sticking out, a mean body line just coming right through into the rear. She got some hips. Coming around to the back though, again, very typical rear end for the CX-50. Nothing groundbreaking here, but overall the taillights look phenomenal on this. Looks are subjective, but I love it. And then in the center, we do have our rear window wiper here. I would have really liked to see it tucked up under the spoiler because there is a little bit of a spoiler there. But we've got our Mazda badge, our hybrid badge, and our CX-50 all-wheel drive because all these CX-50s are all-wheel drive. And then we do have a couple functional exhaust pipes down at the bottom. Not too bad. I like how they look. Now, in certain CX-50 trims, they are actually black, you know, so different style points. Now, the rear door of the CX-50 is powered, and in the back of the CX-50, you do have a good amount of space back here. What's even better though, when you inevitably get a flat, you've got a spare tire right there underneath. But in the back here, we do have a 12-volt outlet in our cigarette lighter jack style, as well as very easy to release seats. You just hit the button, and then you got a flat surface running all the way through. And then, like I mentioned, this is a powered liftgate, so Mazda actually provided us an eggplant to test if their door is safe for my hand. Hey, way better than some others we've seen. You know, recently I tested a Ford Lightning, and it basically ate this thing. So, kudos Mazda. All right, well, that about wraps up the exterior and rear of the CX-50. Let's check out the interior in the front. Now, one thing that Mazda really did well was the design of this interior. It looks fantastic. It looks premium, it looks luxurious, and it looks really clean. So up here, you've got some black leather with some red stitching to give it some contrast, as well as your red arm pad here. And this is soft molded injection molding, so very comfortable. We have very typical functions on our door. We got unlock and lock, we got our side view mirror controls, and one button operation for all 4 windows. Love to see that. Now, the seats themselves do have 8-way adjustable power functions, so that's always great to see. And they also look really nice. We'll have to see if they're as comfortable as they look, but in the center you've got, again, that black leather with the red stitching in between it. Got some black lines on the sides here. Overall, these seats look phenomenal. All right, now hopping into the CX-50, The first thing that I'm going to tell you is the seats are not as comfortable as they look. they look phenomenal, but they're not that comfortable. But the steering wheel itself, you know, it looks really good, but man, is it small. It's really skinny. Like I can basically wrap around my hand to my thumb is touching my second knuckle here. So it's a pretty skinny steering wheel. But on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, we do have our multimedia functions. And then on the right-hand side, we've got our driver's assistance functions with our cruise control and adaptive cruise control and things like that. Nice little Mazda logo in the center here. And of course, a little toot-toot. Very toot-tooty. And then beyond that, we do have 3 physical dials for your power and charging rate, as well as your temperature for your engine and your fuel. And then we have a digital gauge for our speedometer and other information that you may get there. And to the left of the digital gauge cluster, we've got a trip button, we've got a vent, and then we've also got this button here, which turns off our blind spot monitoring and other safety features. So if you don't like hearing all of those noises, you can turn it off. And then next to that, we do have our traction control and our fuel door release button, as well as our lift gate for the back, 2 memory seat functions, and the set button for them. Beyond the steering wheel, we do have our very typical stalks. On the left, we've got one for our lights and our turn signal, and on the right, we've got our front and rear windshield wipers. Now, the steering wheel itself does also tilt and telescope, so lots of adjustability. Now, to the right of the steering wheel, we've got our power button for our push start system. We have a 10.3-inch infotainment center loaded up with Mazda's latest software. Below there, though, we do have our heating and air controls, our hazard button. Luckily, we do also get heated and ventilated seats as well in this CX-50 hybrid. Now, one thing I did on purpose was I purposely left my water here, because if your water bottle is any bigger than this, it's not going to fit. And this is just a typical Yeti cup. But if it was any larger, it's not fitting. So keep that in mind. But below there, we do have a little bit of cubby for some change or whatever, as well as another 12-volt outlet. But the cup holders are a decent size, they just don't have a lot of headroom there. Now, beyond the cup holders, we do have our gear selector, and you can also manually shift as well if you would want to do that. And then we've also got our drive mode selector to the left of our gear selector. Now, this CX-50 hybrid does have 3 different modes. You've got normal, you've got power, and you have trail. I've never seen anybody trail ride in a Mazda, but maybe you'll be the first. To the right of that, we've got our EV button. So if at low speeds you want to go to EV only mode, you can. Behind there, we do have our volume and power knob, as well as a favorites button. And then this little system here is how we actually control our infotainment center. So you've got messages, music, home, back, and then this little dial that you push up, down, left, right, and rotate and push it in order to select. It is a rather archaic system. I don't like the system. This is not touchscreen at all. Granted, it's a little far away if you're driving and trying to use it, but still, I would like to see this come up and make it a touchscreen instead of having this silly dial. But to the left of your silly dial, you do have your electronic parking brake and your auto hold button. Now, you might be asking, I thought all CX-50s have a wireless charger. Well, they do, but it's hidden. You open up the butterfly compartment here, and you can see your wireless charger is right here, kind of hidden by the front of your glove compartment. Inside the glove box, we do have 2 Type-C USB ports, as well as a slot for a large memory card in case you want to load your tunes in. You can do that as well. Moving up above our infotainment center, we do have a auto-dimming rear view mirror that is fitted with 3 home link buttons. Always nice to see that. And then we've got our dome light controls, and you can also make it so the dome lights don't come on when you open the door. And then the CX-50 Premium also has a panoramic sunroof, so here's your control for that. And then we got a little spot to store our shades, because I'm always wearing those. But one thing I did forget to mention also is we do have a heads-up display in this. You can't see it, but it is nice and vibrant. Can see it pretty well. I was also able to see it with polarized glasses on, which is not a common occurrence, so that's nice. Another thing too, since this is the premium trim, you do have a 12-speaker Bose sound system. So that's pretty cool. The tunes should sound good in here. Then you've got a little light in here, so when you're getting ready to go on your hot date, you can make sure you look good. Overall, though, the interior does look really nice. It is somewhat premium materials. It's not very loose anywhere. It looks good. I just wish the seats were more comfortable. All right, let's hop in the back and see what's going on in the second row of this 5-passenger crossover SUV. All right, in the rear of this Mazda CX-50, the doors are styled exactly the same as the front, so nothing really to write home about there. You just have one touch operation on your windows and then a door handle. So great. But in the back here, we do have the seats stylized exactly the same as the front, so that's what they look like. Hopping in, again, it's a little less comfortable than the front seat, but room is somewhat adequate. However, the headspace is really lacking. I've only got about an inch between my head and the roof, and I'm not a very big guy. I'm only like 5'9", 5'10", so yeah, if you're any bigger, or if you've got a big teenager or something, they're gonna hate this car. But in the back, we do have a nice armrest, nice and padded, with a couple cup holders on it. That's great. And then we've got a couple Type-C USB ports, and we cannot control our own temperature back here, but we do at least get a couple vents with the ability to shut them or open them. Now, one thing that's a little strange is the driver's seat does not have a kangaroo pouch on it, but the passenger seat does. So you're not storing anything here. You can store things over here though. So there we go. All right, now that about wraps up the interior and exterior of the Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Premium. Let's hop in the driver's seat and see how she handles on the road, because she is heavier, so she might not be as nimble or handle turns as well, but hopefully she's just as comfortable. All right, we're in the Mazda CX-50 Premium Plus, and we've got our race box set up. We got it in power mode, and we're gonna test 0 to 60, so let's go. All right, we got 9.45 seconds on 0 to 60 and 3.74 for 30. That's not too great. All right, now we're behind the wheel of the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Premium Edition. And, you know, right off the bat, like I mentioned already, the seat's not that great. It's not the most comfortable seat I've ever been in, but I guess it is like a $35,000 vehicle, so maybe the seat wasn't their main concern. But everything else, as far as the handling, the steering is nice and responsive. It is very light though. You don't need a lot in order to make it go where you want it to go, but it does go where you want it to go. As we will show you, our 0 to 60 test acceleration is not great. We've got about a 9.5 second 0 to 60, but you know, it is substantially heavier than your ICE CX-50. So also you don't have the turbocharged engine like you do in the gasoline version. This is more for efficiency instead of power, right? That's why you buy a hybrid, so you can be efficient. As far as visibility goes in the CX-50, it's not bad. You know, it's a smaller crossover that has really large windows all over the car, so you can see very well out of them. The only thing really is that the hips kind of block your side view mirrors a bit, so there's that. And also the side view mirrors are really small, and they're kind of like brought up closer to you than they normally would be. Normally they're more like towards the windshield. On this one, they're like a little bit into the door, so you're not getting like the same angle as you would typically get. I'm not really a big fan of how the side view mirrors are on the CX-50. Now, as far as drive feel goes though, you feel absolutely everything. I don't know how people are expecting to drive this off-road. You might break your tailbone if you do, because every little crack in the road that we go over, I feel it. And again, because they did take a Toyota powertrain and drop it into here, guess what? We've got a CVT transmission. So you got droning, you got a lot of engine noise, it's really loud. Also tons of road noise to go along with feeling everything. You also hear everything. So it's a noisy little vehicle. Not so much on the outside, but on the inside it really is. So some of the changes for 2025 for both the CX-50 and the CX-50 Hybrid are the safety features. So basically, they brought in the speed limit signs and everything. Your heads-up display system as well as your digital gauge cluster will populate that info. They also improved the nighttime pedestrian monitoring. So hopefully you're less likely to hit a person. let's not hit people in our vehicles. But those are some of the things that they fixed. But this does have blind spot monitoring. Like I mentioned, the pedestrian alert. It also populates your speed limit. It's got adaptive cruise control. You know, so it's got all of Mazda's typical safety features. My thoughts about the drive itself, it's a little lifeless. It's not all that exciting to drive, especially because it is pretty slow. But for a cost-effective hybrid in the subcompact SUV, market, it's not bad at all. I really would just like more comfortable seats, because when I think about SUVs, I think about moving things, moving people, and often going somewhat of a longer distance. Whereas like this would not be the one that I want to necessarily go a long distance in. Other than that, like I think if the seat was better, I'd probably be a lot happier. That about wraps up everything I've got to say currently about the CX-50 Hybrid Premium. But what I need Steve to tell me how they worked this out with Toyota so that they could drop the RAV4 powertrain in here and hear about what he thinks about the CX-50, or if I'm just crazy.
Well, it's time for Uncle Steve to talk about the powertrain for this 25 Mazda CX-50. So Mazda offered 3 different powertrains, but today we're going to talk about only the hybrid. So the engine and the 2 electric motor produce 219 horsepower and 163 foot-pound of torque. And 0 to 60 is supposedly 7.6 seconds, but we did 8.9, right?
Yeah, we did like 9.3.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really far away from the estimations anyways.
Yeah, so for the mile per gallon, it's 38 miles per gallon combined. To put a comparison to the RAV4, where it's 2 miles less than RAV4 hybrid.
What do you think about the drive so far, Steve?
The drive so far is sharp. The handling is actually pretty sharp. However, the acceleration is horrible. We are going on the highway, so we can see how good is it to merge on the highway. For braking, yes, it's a little bit soft. Comfort the seat is horrible. It's like you're sitting on a plywood.
Yeah.
I can feel they try to make it like sporty, but actually the acceleration is not there.
Yeah. It's got the looks, but no girth.
Yes, I like the design. I love the design actually. I think it's better than the RAV4. The exterior and the interior.
Oh, definitely. The interiors especially is really sharp.
Yeah, it's really sharp. Some people don't like these baseball stitches, baseball style stitches. I think that's how they call it.
Yeah.
It's like cross. I kind of like it actually. I feel like, I don't know what the word for that. Now I'm on the highway and it's okay to merge on the highway. I need to accelerate a little bit and the traffic is not that fast, so I'm okay to, it's okay to merge on the highway with this kind of horsepower. In terms of wind noise, I like the wind noise, right?
A lot of wind noise, very noisy cabin.
If I accelerate, I can hear the engine noise.
Yeah, it's like taking over my thoughts.
Yeah.
Most people have music on or something though, so maybe they won't care anyways.
If you put on music, like loud music.
Yeah, make it really loud. You got 12 Bose speakers in here.
Yeah.
So.
Premium sound system, right?
Yeah.
Well, besides that, for the space, I really think it's a little bit smaller than the RAV4. And it's kind of close to the Subaru Crosstrek. What do you think, Josh? You think it's a little bit smaller than a RAV4 and kind of similar to a Crosstrek?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to a Crosstrek for sure. Where it's really lacking though is the headroom. Both of those options have more headroom than this does. And in the front it's not so bad really, but when you get into the second row, you kind of feel cramped because you can see how close the ceiling is to your head.
By the way, what is the capacity, towing capacity?
Actually, so the CX-50, the gasoline version, has a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds, which isn't too shabby. It's nothing to shake a stick at. But this hybrid option, which you can get installed from the dealer, the towing package and everything, it can only tow 1,500 pounds.
See, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. What direction Mazda trying to aim?
Yeah.
They try to off-road, but you cannot tow a lot of stuff. And then you try to go like Sporty, it's not that fast.
Yeah.
So it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, personally,
in my opinion.
I agree with your opinion, because personally I also would never take a hybrid vehicle off-road. Like, you know how many horror stories I've seen from people that took their EV Hummer off-roading and got stuck like immediately, and then the car died and there was nothing they could do, and next thing you know, you're stuck with a $5,000 towing bill because you need a specialty tow truck to come out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like, no thanks.
Like, listen to Josh. No off-roading with this Mazda CX-50.
Yeah, this is a grocery getter, not a trail beater.
Yep. Well, the bottom line is I really like the design, inside out, and also the driving. Not the acceleration, but the driving itself is pretty sporty, and comfort is not there. So that's my opinion. What do you think, Josh?
No, I agree, but you know, maybe you know, it is a relatively cheap car too, so it's not like you're buying an $80,000 car or like a Ranger Raptor or something like that, right?
So how much is this?
Well, there's 3 trim levels in 2025 for the new CX-50 hybrid, and it starts off with the preferred, which is $35,390. Then you've got the premium, which is $38,820, which is what we're driving today. And then you've got the premium plus, which is $41,470. And actually, you know, that compares pretty well to the RAV4 too, because the RAV4 starts around 32, ends around 49, but there's 9 different trim levels. You know, it's 38 miles per gallon. You've got a crossover SUV. It looks sharp. It's just not all that comfortable. You can get a seat pad or whatever if you don't think it's comfortable too, but the price, not bad for what it is.
And reliability too, you know, they're using Toyota Powertrain. It's non-turbo, you know, it's nothing they build like new engine, you know, new design. This is the powertrain they've been using it.
Right, it's tried and true and tested, you know, so it's not known for failing or anything like that. You know, it's pretty reliable. So at least you've got that stamp on it too.
For daily, I think I would buy this because of the look. And if I had to drive like really long distance each day, then I would really consider the comfort is not there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great for dropping the kids off at school, going to get some groceries, running some errands, whatever, around town. Get great gas mileage, look cool while you're doing it.
Yeah, it's a good, really good gas mileage, 38.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's like 3 times what I get.
Oh, yeah, and doesn't require premium.
Right. Well, there you have it. In conclusion, you know, the new offering from Mazda with the CX-50 hybrid, it's not too bad. It looks really sharp. It's got okay performance. It's not all that bad for a hybrid. And I think it has a place within the segment. It's definitely not a bad vehicle. One thing that they should really try to fix next time, hopefully, is the comfort. But if you're looking for a hybrid, looking for something a little bit more efficient to get around town, do your daily things, all your errands, and take care of the kids, get them to practice and everything like that, I think it's a pretty solid option. You should go check one out yourself though. Let us know in the comments. And while you're at it, also smash up the likes and subscribe so that you are able to tune into the next video.